Highland, don't sell out. Please don't sell out. My Highland, don't sell out. Remember your teachers, them now. Remember your nurses, them now. Remember your doctors, them now. My Highland, don't sell out. No.
You're in tune to Roots FM 96.1 on the FM band. It's now time for Make We Talk with Jeffrey Tavares.
Good morning. Welcome to Make We Talk here on Roots 96.1 FM. We all need to watch when I'm saying stop, please. This morning I have with me Mr. Joseph Patterson, the president of the UCIC. Also, we're going to link with Mr. Finnegan, who is the communication director of the One Voice group. We're going to speak about what is going on in our beloved country, Jamaica. Because it seems as if these people want to have state of emergency to stop the people from talking. That's the plan they have. I'm hearing about myself inside this thing. I don't know why. And the time has come for us in this country to take a stand. Because the powers may be that they want to run a government not of the people or for the people or by the people, but a government of the Vumvavan, the Vumvavi. But I want to let them know, you call for state of emergency because you refuse to deal with the poor pauperizing bus and taxi drivers in this country. So you call for state of emergency. I better say when Friday comes to the emergency done. Because the Labour Party have conference Sunday. My fellow Jamaicans, women abroad in the diaspora, I call on every one of you from all walks of life. Rise up. Rise up peacefully. Speak out. Let our voice be heard in this country. Let our voice be heard in this country. I don't care who want to fight against you and say all manner of things about you. But they continue. I have with me the president of the UCIC, Mr. Joseph Patterson. I have with me the great-great-grandson of Paul Bogle, chairman of the Crime Prevention Unit in St. Thomas. I'm going to get Mr. Finnegan, communication director of the One Voice group, on the phone. But let us start with the president of the UCIC. Good morning, sir. How are you doing? Welcome to Make We Talk.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. And it's the UIC, United Independence Congress.
Lord of mercy. Thank you for correcting me, sir.
No problem at all.
What do you think is going on within the public transport sector, sir? Where the government refused to give these people an amnesty, but they're giving gunmen amnesty?
Yeah, it's symptomatic for the government to get its priorities. Yeah, we're getting a feedback. The priority for the government right now is not to fix the public transportation system. It has other priorities. It likes to operate as a Batman government. And so it is seeing an opportunity now to bad up the people in the public transportation sector, as opposed to sitting down with your representatives and understanding the situation, a problem that they created. Because the reason we have all of this exorbitant ticketing and legalized extortion of public transport operators by the government is because they have put in place a very bad system in the first place. And this bad system has caused taxi drivers and bus operators to sometimes behave in a way that is inconsistent with what we want in the industry. It also means because they have failed to put in place proper drop-off and pick-up point for operators, that they create occasions for police to abuse their authority and to just recklessly ticket these persons and create mayhem in the industry. On top of that, they have a disconnected legal system and ticketing system that does not even know its left hand from its right hand, which has further penalized and made it difficult the lives of public transport operators. They fail to understand the importance of designing proper systems and ensuring effective enforcement of laws, including themselves, the government, honoring their responsibility to the society. For example, many public transport operators have suffered significant high cost of operation because of the bad roads that the government has persisted in creating across the country because of corruption and waste in the whole sector of public administration. So the UIC had to stand with the public transport operators, even though the public at large may misunderstand the situation because they're not fully aware of what public transport operators are going through. So the public is just looking at the fact that you're asking for an amnesty, as opposed to recognizing that the reason you need an amnesty is because the government has created a bad situation. And now the public transport operators are simply asking, give us some time to pay. Left to me alone, I would not be asking for just time to pay. I'd be asking for a big chunk of that to be discounted. Because the fact of the matter is, a lot of the problems you have in the industry is created by the very government that is now blaming the Jamaican people. And remember, taxi operators, bus operators, they're Jamaican people. They're ordinary citizens trying to make a living in an area of our economy which requires them.
Yes.
We can't get by without transportation.
And
So the UIC is calling on the government, final point. The UIC is calling on the government to stop the bad man and bully tactics and sit down and talk with the public transport operators. They're being reasonable, and all they're asking is for the government to also be reasonable, come to the table, sit down and talk and reach an agreement and let the people of Jamaica get back to the business of going to work, to school, and to play without any form of disruption.
thank you very much. And it seems as if because they don't want any more bangarang, because they are criticizing the bus and taxi operators and calling them names and all sorts of things, as if they are not Jamaican citizens, as if it's not labor plane bring them to Jamaica, not aeroplane like the Chinese who hug up and suck up too. No, I am not in the whole thing with lawlessness, because some of our taxi drivers, they drive really reckless. But if you can give gunmen gun amnesty, why you can't give ticket amnesty to the Jamaican people, not only to the taxi drivers alone, to the wider Jamaican public? Why you can't give them gun amnesty? The time has come, Jamaicans. I don't know what's going on here. It seems that Mr. Patterson is frozen. My good friend, Mr. Clark from St. Thomas. Let me see your face now, sir. What is your views on what is going on now, sir?
Good morning, Jamaica. Good morning, Jeffrey, Sir Patterson. Jeffrey, I am saddened by the pronouncements this morning. Very sad. I don't see what warrants a state of emergency.
You need to speak a bit louder.
I don't see what warrants a state of emergency coming out of yesterday. There are a few small incidents. I've never seen anybody reported being injured. Yes, some persons were intimidated, and I don't think it was part of what the organizers organized. But based on the utterance or the press release from Parliament, from Cabinet yesterday, I think it only threw more gas on the fire. And if you notice, there was a fire lit in Portmore yesterday, and it was after that press release. I think it was a slap in the face by the government. They picked at the little young man where he had a stick telling people to come out of the car. And they magnified that incident to make it look like it was everybody was doing this thing. And they profile the young man from station to station and so forth, and them call him a professional clown, that kind of stuff. What is the message the government is sending? Is it saying that we are the people, we are for the people? Or is it saying that we run things, we are one done? Are we saying that we're a dictator? That's the message that is coming across right now, no? That the government is portraying a dictatorship sort of attitude and posturing. It's quite disappointing when I saw the label they gave the press release: lawlessness and disorder. And most of the videos and pictures I saw was taxi men withdrawing their service, park on the side of the road and having a fun time. Is that unlawful? It's up for question. And
It seems as if,
yeah, go ahead.
seems as if we have a Russian dictator in this country, or a Russian type of government in this country, where it is not your constitutional right to exercise the right for a peaceful protest.
Maybe the wind of Russia and Ukraine is blowing in Jamaica. I don't know. The truth is, Jeffrey, the truth is, the system, the ticket system that the men are complaining and the women are complaining about is extremely flawed. Extremely flawed. A lot of persons have tickets that they paid, but think some of them have the receipt, but the system is saying that it's not paid. And I realized from an announcement made last night on TVJ, where the media person from the tax administration was saying that the tickets are paid and it's uploaded to another system. Now, we know that sometimes data get lost in transfer of data. We know sometimes systems are not compatible. We know and that sometimes they may upload something electronically, but somebody physically on the other side have to go through it with a fine-tooth comb, and things will fall through the crack. Is it one of those reasons? Is it a matter of the system is not compatible? Is it a matter of it's a human error? Why a person will have 10 tickets outstanding and the truth is they were paid? And I think it's unfair to now come out and be issuing warrants and locking up people when the system has major flaws in it. I think that is hypocrisy, and I think that is dictatorship. Matter of fact, I name it extortion. Thank you, sir.
I heard in a radio station where the chairman of the Police Federation accusing the government of the word that they used was treason. A treason-like situation, and they said that the person should have never used that word. Because it seems as if we can't say certain things in this country. I am trying to get a hold of Mr. Lurick, Mr. Finnegan, who's the communication director for the One Voice group. Anybody who knows who Mr. Finnegan is, tell him to give the Make We Talk program a call. And anybody else who want to call in, you can call in. WhatsApp call only. 876-782-8235. 876-782-8235. I don't know if anybody inside Roots FM studio, but you can call 876-225-9478. That's Roots FM studio number. 876-225-9478. Or the Mekwit Talk studio number is 876-782-8235. Call in and tell us what is going on where transport is concerned. Are you getting to and from work? Are you going to work now? What is going on? The president of the fourth political party is here with us this morning. I want you to tell me now. The way how you see this country is running, what would your party do differently? In 3 minutes.
Sure. Well, the UIC, first of all, would ensure that we have a very clear and transparent process by which bus and taxi operators can operate within the law with certainty, knowing fully and clearly what they can or cannot do, and that the police resources of this country is dedicated primarily to finding and locking up and prosecuting criminals, as opposed to making criminals of our taxi and bus operators. We will ensure that there is strict adherence to the law by those who drive on our roads, be they public transport operators or private citizens. But what we will not do, we will not have a system of ticketing which is inconsistent, which is unclear, which is allowing different forms of corruption to take place among those who are supposed to enforce the law. We will have a justice system that is clear and transparent and accessible and equitable, and not one where public transport operators are being dragged through a system that doesn't know its left hand from its right hand. We're going to ensure that Jamaica has a public transportation system that is no less than what obtains in Singapore. I cannot believe that a country that is smaller than us, that got independence the same time as us, roughly, they got independence in 1965, we in 1962, and they have been able to, in no time, create a very robust, accessible, inexpensive, and easy to access and use public transportation system, and we are still here playing around like a dolly house. It's time for this to stop. My Jamaican people, we need to say enough is enough and hold the government accountable by dismissing them for having used the last 7 to 8 years to create a mess in almost every sector, whether it's police officers, whether it's nurses and teachers, and now transport operators. Everywhere you turn, they can't even collect garbage. They can't manage inflation. They can't manage the dollar, and they cannot provide the Jamaican people with a sane and respectable and decent, well-orderly and well-managed public transportation system. So the UIC is going to change all of that. And by the way, we're the third official political party, not the fourth.
Okay, thank you very much. You're the third?
Yes.
So what about the NDM?
No, you probably weren't aware of this, but in 2018, these two colonial parties changed the laws. Prior to 2018, we had no real laws governing political parties in Jamaica. It was a free-for-all by the two parties. Having cemented themselves as the monopoly of the industry, they passed laws which eliminated all political parties. You didn't know that. It eliminated all political parties. And you now had to apply through the ECJ to become a political party. By doing so, they became the only two official parties in Jamaica. The UIC challenged them vehemently for 10 months straight and battled with them, and as a result, paved the way for other political parties to now become parties. If we had allowed them, they would have eliminated political parties from Jamaica, save only their two. But we're here.
Okay, Mr. Patterson.
Yes.
We have to have another time for that. I don't have enough time
No
to
problem.
talk about that part. But the National Democratic Movement has been around a long time with
They are
Chairman
not a registered
Williams.
political party. As of now, they're not a registered
We're going to
political
speak
party.
about that at a different time.
Yeah, but I'm
Sir
just telling
Clark.
you that they're not registered based on the new laws.
Okay. Sir Clark,
Yes, Sir Jeffrey.
who can we get on the line to give us some update? Because I'm trying to get a hold of some people and I can't hold of a body. Newman not talking to make we talk.
Are you surprised?
And I'm being told that the One Voice group was not invited
Oh,
to the meeting of
interesting.
the Vumbaba and the Vumbavi.
Interesting. Let me make a few calls while you continue. Give me 2 seconds.
Did you see the letter? Did you see the press release from the One Voice group that they put
Yes,
out?
I saw it.
I found it to be a well-written letter or press release that fully captures the essence of everything. And I want to say, as a political movement, I want to say to the Jamaican people, do not
Hold a while
be
for me,
fooled.
Mr. Patterson.
Yes.
Hold a while for me, please. Hold a while, please.
Mhm.
I'll allow you to go on and talk. Hold a while for me, please. This is Make We Talk on Roots 96.1 FM, also on Roots 96.1 FM YouTube channel. Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. Like, share, and subscribe to those two YouTube channels. You know, this morning I got up this morning, you know, and I was gonna call my producer and my good friend, my brother, Owen Brown, say, hey Owen, I don't think I can come on this morning, you know. But I in the midst of everything, I got a call from a family member of mine who I shall not call name. Everybody know who me talking. And what they said to me was very disturbing. And I decided, say, no, that's true, I'm gonna come on. You know, we're living in a country where every day we ask ourselves the question, are we truly Jamaicans? Do we have a government of the people, for the people, and by the people? Now tell me something now. Any prime minister in any modern democracy who's having a press conference this morning would have addressed the situation with the public transport sector. What the Prime Minister and the Minister of National Security and the Commissioner of Police chose to do was to talk about the state of a public emergency, which is not working. That's the only crime plan they have in this country. To secure the people of this country. But let me say something to you all. I think they are afraid they did not know that the One Voice taxi group could pull off something like this. They did not believe they could. And what they're afraid of, that other organizations in this country are going to organize themselves and do likewise. Garbage not collecting. The Police Federation not get their money. As a matter of fact, I have a friend of mine, I'm going to call him the president of Jatu, Louis Barton. Louis, you have my number. Call the Jamaican number. You want the numbers you want to call? We need to talk to President Louis Barton. And we need the One Voice people to come on. As I was saying, we live in a country where they believe that they don't give a flying kahuna about the people of this country. It is now 11:30. We're going to take a commercial break on Roots 96.1 FM. We'll be right back on the Make We Talk program. Hello? Am I hearing Roots FM or Roots FM is gone off here now? Isn't it 11:30? We're trying to figure out, is there going to be an amnesty, yes or no? Because as far as I'm concerned, what the dickens is this?
Taking the COVID vaccine. Get vaccinated as soon as you get all the facts. Don't listen to the rumors. This vaccine might just make it possible for teachers to sit face to face with schoolers. This vaccine make it safer for everybody, from the young to the elderly. Don't you want to go back to living normally when things were more orderly? And if you want to live a long good life, then we all have to do what's right. So let's get vaccinated along with the heroes on the front line.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
At MOJ, Ministry of Justice, come access quality service to keep order within the nation. We put together good legislation, legal aid in your pocket. A little is child diversion for you to need expertise. Victim service will help you cope with grief. Restorative justice, build back the peace, no matter where you come from. How we say just for all Jamaicans. MOJ, Ministry of Justice, come access quality service.
MOJ, taking justice to the people of Jamaica.
Pure Talent Radio Show presents It's Pure Talent each and every Friday. Roots FM 96.1 FM, hosted by Digital Kim. I don't know we have Freestyle Fridays, Top 10 Countdown Charts, Top 5 Music Video Charts. I don't know Business Advertisement, Event Coverage. I don't know number to call 1-876-778-4603. Yes, I am. Email us at puretalent390@gmail.com. Mr. Chancellor.
Hi, I'm Sharon.
Hi, I'm Marcia.
I'm Adrian.
Join us this and every Wednesday morning for Extraordinary Abilities on Roots 96.1 FM. Join us for news, views, and interviews with extraordinary people. Extraordinary Abilities every Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on your extraordinary radio station, Roots 96.1 FM. It's going to be fun, informative, and educational. But most of all, it will be extraordinary.
Senator South. Do you want to know what the police is doing for you in serving and protecting you, our valued residents? Then tune in to the Senator South Beats this and every Thursday, 11 a.m. right here on Roots 96.1 FM. Join Commanding Officer Superintendent Kirk Ricketts and the dedicated officers at the Senator South Police who will facilitate your questions and inquiries. That's the Senator South Beats this and every Thursday, 11 a.m. on Roots 96.1 FM, the voice of the inner city.
Welcome back to Make We Talk here on Roots 96.1 FM, the voice of the inner city. It is Make We Talk. There's a song that I have to play. Make We Talk do not own the copyrights of this song. But there's a song that I want to play because it's a song that is for this time.
And as we fight one another,
for the power and the glory. The kingdom goes to waste. We the people want to know just where we're going. Right now we hands are tied behind the back, while certain people, if and but in, where do we stand? We have too far to go, not to really know just how we're getting there. And if we're getting anywhere, we have too much to change, not to know the range of possibility and changeability. Violence and crime is commonplace in these said times. No man walk free.
No man walk free. Violence and crime has taken over this country. And for peaceful demonstration, we can't have one. The Prime Minister said, and the advice of the Governor General, make a fine here. He said, on the advice of the Governor General, they have to have a public emergency. When the journalist asked him, did the opposition party agree with the public state of emergency? The Prime Minister twists around the answers. He hasn't answered the journalists all now. And we want to know, is it that public state of emergency? Is the crime solution in this country? That's what I want to know. We have the president of the UIC and Mr. Clark from St. Thomas. We're trying to get some update of what is going on in the streets. But they're locked into a meeting and some information reaching me. No sound good. We also have Mr. Marcel Clark, St. Thomas Crime Prevention Chairman. Mr. Clark, welcome back to the program, sir.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Also, Mr. Patterson.
My pleasure to be here.
I don't know. I this morning, I think I'm in a disarray this morning because of some news that is reaching me, and I think the same news reaching my good friend, Sir Clark. I must say good morning to my good friend, Wilfred Radigan, former FBI agent and attorney at law. He's watching us. And this evening, going to be a simulcast broadcast on this YouTube channel with Reason with Ratigan. Let me say something. Let me ask this question to Mr. Patterson. Where do you think the transport sector should go from here? If they don't want to give them an amnesty, where do you think they should go from here?
Well, that's a very, very, very important question, and speaks to a challenge we have. The transport operators are in business, so they have to make an income to take care of their lives and their families. The government currently has a very commanding position in that they can decide to be draconian because the consequence to them is less than the consequence to the taxi operators. I see from the public response that the public doesn't fully understand the issue well enough just yet. So I think the transport operators have to develop a very effective communication strategy, and we in the UIC are prepared to help with that. We have to communicate to the Jamaican people exactly what is wrong with the public transportation sector, what the government has been doing to public transport operators, the trickery, the extortion through a ticketing system which is not well thought out, poorly administered, and puts the operators at gross disadvantage because the state is using the police as an extortion agency. And we, the people, have to make sure that the vast majority of Jamaicans understand this and stand with us against bad governance and force the government to start treating the Jamaican people with respect. And let's remember, taxi operators, bus operators are Jamaicans too. We're voters too. Well, I'm not an operator, but all of us are in this business together. And so I think the government must pay a price. They're already paying one, and we must hold to our guns. The taxi operators, the bus operators, we must cling together. We don't want to see any division or separation. So I'm calling on TODs. I'm calling on all the and one voice. Come together and let us form a solid wall of separation between us and the government until the government decides that it's time to sit down at the bargaining table, listen to the cries of the people, understand how they are causing suffering. You cannot disregard the economy of the taxi and bus operators. They are only trying to make a living. So let us make sure as government, the government and the taxi operators, the bus operators, let us come to the table. The UIC is prepared to broker a deal. We believe 100% in an amnesty. And the reason for this is many of those tickets, sorry?
I'm not trying to cut you off. I only have an hour on Roots FM. And I
Sure,
have a
go
lot
ahead.
to do. Thank you very much. Hold a minute. I have the script to play.
Refuse to give the amnesty, but yet still not give gun amnesty. Oh, that's right. And the wickedest thing that never see on earth. See, we need amnesty. We're willing to pay. As I said before, see here, $200,000 worth of ticket. Look for ticket. 1 second and car this can buy. The last amnesty and this would be right? No reason. Watch this. $15,000 ticket. We never amended the traffic because we still pay. So in other words, who know owe money? Half of them tickets, the price was wrongfully priced. Never amended, so it's illegal. It's an illegal ticket, and we still pay it. We're requesting an amnesty. I prefer to put one over to lock us up. Hard-working people. It is not fair, Mr. Prime Minister. Look into this. I am begging you, look into this. Mr. Prime Minister, we need amnesty.
Tax office is taking up too much of our time. We need outlet for the road.
What's right?
Outlet where we can push in the yard and push in the money to the outlet.
The whole ticket system wasn't set up properly. I saw the made that.
When will the taxi strike end?
Rejection is going to continue until the Lord Almighty comes for the world.
When will the taxi strike end?
Rejection is going to continue until the Lord Almighty comes for the world.
Now, you know why I played that 2 times? People may say, Mr. Tavares, you must stop it. Sir Clark.
Yes, Sir Jeffrey.
It seems as if the only way governments of this country listen to the people of this country is when they take to the streets. What is your views on that, sir?
The truth is, Jeffrey, I am from a parish where the wise people come from, St. Thomas, the East. And my forefather had to do the very same thing, take to the streets, walk all the way to Spanish Town and didn't get to even see the governor, to walk back, frustrated. And, you know, it ended up in the 1865 rebellion. I realized through time, St. Thomas don't get anything unless they demonstrate. But now I'm seeing where it has spread to the 14 parishes where Jamaicans don't get anything unless they get aggressive. Should our government wait till people get aggressive and agitated, or should we try to fix the problem before it escalates? But there's a question I want to ask Sir Patterson. Sir Patterson, sir, do you agree with the response of the government yesterday with the press release and with the pronouncement they made at the press conference today? I know you have seen a couple of the videos, and I know you have got reports because almost every spot that there was a gathering of drivers that withdrew their service, whether it was a party mode or whatever, I saw your people in shirts there. In fact, at halfway three, at least three of them was on site that I could see, I could count. I know one of them. And I'm saying to you, sir, do you think what the government response was yesterday was warranted or the right approach to the request or the response this morning?
Not at all. The government has, in his response, the Prime Minister has shown a great disregard for the pain and suffering that the government's own bad policies have caused upon the people of Jamaica, and in particular, we're talking about transport operators. But would you know that yesterday, after some of my people left the halfway tree gathering, that they were targeted by the police, hunted down, and stopped, and their vehicle searched, and they were issued a ticket of $3,000 yesterday. The police that was there watching the procession waited and followed my people as they drove off, drive behind them, and drive them down and stop them and searched their vehicle and issued them a $3,000 frivolous ticket claiming that they weren't driving properly and parking properly. No, this is the kind of police state that I think our Prime Minister enjoys. I watched his behavior during the pandemic, and you notice he relished the opportunity to give commands and to give orders and dictates. He's not the kind of person who entertains discussion and dialogue, Mr. Tavares and Mr. Douglas. They seem not to want to engage the Jamaican people in admitting and accepting their failings. When you have a ticketing system whereby the people who are ticketed can easily and quickly pay their tickets, you're creating problems. Go ahead, Mr. Tavares.
Yes, I'm not trying to cut you off. I apologize to you.
Yes.
I have Louis Barton from J2 online, and
Go
I
ahead.
want to get everything in before 12 o'clock. Louis Barton, welcome to Make We Talk.
Hi, Jeffrey. Thanks for calling me. Thanks for taking my call. But I couldn't get to you earlier. I heard you asking for me and all of that, and I always want to listen to your program. But I just want to add my 2 cents in. First of all, by the way, hello to Mr. Patterson and the young man from St. Thomas, Mr. Bogle, or similar. But anyway,
Mr. Clark, Bogle and Grandpapa.
All right, Mr. Bogle Clark. I'm just thinking that what happened today with this press conference is similar to Governor Erie. I don't call him Erie. Governor Erie, what he did to Paul Bogle.
Yes.
After they asked for genuine representation, like what the transport operators are asking for, he just totally ignored them. Now, I wouldn't be surprised, and that is what the state of emergency is to probably arrest those people who took part in the demonstration. I would not be surprised if some of the leaders are targeted. What happened is a crime. What we have been doing is ignoring the root cause of all of this. As Mr. Patterson said, we need a national public passenger transportation policy. J2 have been calling for that for a number of years, not recently, years. But what triggered this is the lack of parking. And you know that, you and I know that in a personal way, Jeffrey, where there's no parking for transportation. You and I went to many different places to point this out. So it is not, they just keep on ignoring the real cause of the problem. and we will never solve the problem unless we identify the real
But
problem.
Louis Barton,
Amnesty
the question for you
false.
this morning, Louis, before you go any further,
Yeah.
you're saying to me that it seems as if the powers may be called for a state of emergency, that if any demonstration continues, they'll lock up. But let me say something to them, you know. Hey, bangarang in this country.
Yeah.
Louis,
But
you believe
Jeffrey,
that the state of emergency is to lock up the people who is in charge of one voice and other groups?
Jeffrey, I would not be surprised if that takes place because a state of emergency says that if you are implicated, you remember the hang George William Gordon when he was in St. Andrew for what took place in St. Thomas? I wouldn't be surprised. It is possible. The law says that if you seem to be causing some, well, I don't know if the law state that because I'm no lawyer, but if you are implicated in any kind of demonstration against or during state of emergency, you are subject to confinement.
The law does say that.
On
The
you.
law.
I think is that this move by the government, by the prime minister, and I'm blaming him more than anybody else. This move by him this morning is a real what they call travesty of justice. It's an injustice, and this injustice continues to be poured on transport operators every time. Anytime all we need is justice. All we need to do is to be able to work, to have a genuine job so we can feed our family and go about our legal affairs in this country. But they're not allowing us to do that. And they feel that they purposely, I think, not trying, they're purposely avoiding the real problem. The real problem is that we don't have a transportation policy where we can say, well, this is ours and that is yours. We don't have that. And if we
Mr.
continue
Martin,
like
Mr. Martin, I want to just say something quickly. They have monetized the ticketing system. They have monetized the ticketing system. They're using it as a form of income generation for the government as opposed to seeking. Yes.
What you saying, Louis?
No, I said I didn't want to go on too long since you have other guests.
No, but hold on a minute. I want to ask all three of you who is on with me now. When we go off at 12 o'clock from Roots FM, can you all stay back for next 10 to 15 minutes to discuss this thing?
Sure, no problem.
I can try, Jeffrey. You know, I'm not in Jamaica
I
right
know,
now.
I know you're in Washington meeting with the heads of government in the UN.
I'm at the White House.
Yes, indeed. So I'm just gonna ask that. But
yeah, I'm gonna try because I had to borrow a phone to make this call.
Okay. So Sir Patterson was saying something to us. I don't know if you can hear him, Louis, because I think we're having some technical difficulties here. You can hear Mr. Patterson?
No, I'm not hearing it.
Go ahead, Sir Joseph.
Yes, I was just explaining that they have weaponized the ticketing system.
Are you hearing him now?
No.
Hold on.
Really? Okay.
Hold on. Are you hearing him now?
Check, mic check. Can you hear
Louis?
me? Can you hear me, Louis? Can you hear me, Louis?
Go ahead, Sir Patterson. Go ahead.
All right. So I was just pointing
Louis,
out.
don't go anywhere. Hold on.
I was just pointing out that they have weaponized the ticketing system and the government is using ticketing as a source of revenue. They're not interested in the quality and care of our public transportation system. They're interested in using the system as a way to generate revenues, to plug holes in the government's budget. So they're running the government as if it's an extortion racket. They're seeking to exploit and extort the Jamaican people by way of extorting and exploiting the public transport operators. And we, the people, need to wake up to this and stand with the operators to defend them and by extension, defend ourselves.
You know, Louis, I think Prime Minister Holness want to put on government badness on the people, you know.
Yeah.
But what he failed to remember, the people was the one who put him there.
Yeah.
21%. 21%.
Run any political thing here because my gearbox mash up. I can't go right, center, or nothing.
Yeah.
Yet he having conference come Sunday. And him don't realize that the same taxi drivers have to carry people to the conference. But I'm appealing to the transport sector this afternoon. Do not go on the road on Sunday to carry anybody. Because if they can have a public state of emergency, the Prime Minister of the country hasn't even addressed the situation. And yet he has a press conference. The Minister of National Security didn't even do it. The Minister of National Security didn't even do it. The Governor General of this country didn't even see it fit as the head of state to come and say, listen to me, XQYZ. Are we living in a totalitarian country? You know me, Barton?
Yeah, well, what I know, Jeffrey, is that the transport sector have to, the members of the transport sector have to start knowing themselves. Are they going to be fighting for their interests? Are they going to be fighting for other people's interests? And one of the problems with that, as somebody said, we don't have the unity that is required. But if we understand that, we just to understand that there is no unity, and we are.
Hold on, Louis. You're not in Jamaica. Let me say something to you, Louis Barton.
Yeah.
I have never seen an organized group like how I see the One Voice group. The only time I've seen anything organized in this country is in the 1990s gas riot. But I've seen an organization of the taxi men and women in this country yesterday. And I think that is what surprised the leadership of the Andrew Holness administration. I have never seen it before. And believe you me, the time has come for us in this country. The time has come for us in this country to wake up. And the time is now.
Yeah.
We only have a couple minutes leave on Roots FM. We're going to say goodbye to Roots FM before anything. But I'm asking you all to stay on. Joseph Patterson, your final word, then Louis Barton, then my good friend from St. Thomas.
I just want to remind you and the Jamaican people that on September 22nd last year, we led a demonstration of over 500 where we said to the government, respect the rights of the Jamaican people, for which I was arrested. But it stopped them in their tracks. They didn't get to inject 80% of us. Now we must stick together and defend the rights of the public transport operators and ensure that they get the amnesty they deserve.
Hold on. Louis Barton, your turn. Go ahead. Louis, you hearing us? Go ahead, Louis.
All right, Jeffrey, I'll go. Based on the time constraint. Sir Jeffrey, there's a state of emergency this week. But Sunday's conference. Wouldn't it be illegal?
Absolutely.
Huh? I'm wondering who's advising the PM. You know, they know.
Yeah.
I was saying, are they aware that the conference is Sunday and there's a state of emergency?
Maybe turn my shut them brain. Louis Barton, your final word before we go off air.
But before you go off here, I just want everybody to understand. One of my heroes from the 60s is a person named Kwame Ture, right? He was a Black American who was born in Trinidad. His words are organize, organize, organize. That is my last word. We have to organize to get whatever we want.
Yes, and it's the same thing Wilfred Radigan has been saying to our fellow Jamaicans. Organized, organized, organized. And my final word to my fellow Jamaicans, those who are on the Roots FM Facebook page. Those who are on the Roots FM YouTube page, come on over to the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube page. We're going to continue the discussion over here. But my final word before I go off air on Roots FM, Jamaica, the time has come for us to wake up, organize ourselves peacefully. We don't want no dictatorship in this country. No other modern democracy can the transport sector is at odds and the Prime Minister don't address the situation. If it was Portia Lucretia Simpson Miller, would have done it. If it was Bruce Golding, he would have done it. What is going on in this country? The time is now. And I say to the public transport sector out there, be peaceful. Do not do anything to make them lock you up. Do not commit any crime or any offense for them to come and lock you up. Be very peaceful. Continue the work you're doing. Continue the work you are doing, my fellow Jamaicans. And rise up and speak out. It cannot continue like this. Nurses soon go on strike next. The police forces just soon go and stick out next. Garbage not collecting in this country. And the People's National Party, them dead. This is where I say so long from Roots FM 96.1 FM. Until you hear my voice again next week, Tuesday. May God bless you. May God bless Jamaica land we love. Come on over to the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. We continue the discussion over here. Return to the studios of Roots 96.1 FM. Thank you very much. I'm going to hand you over to Sir Clark for a couple of minutes. Sir Clark.
Yes, Sir Jeffrey, how are you doing?
Sorry about for a couple of minutes for me, please.
All right. Sir Patterson, is Louis still there?
Louis, you're hearing Sir Clark?
No, I don't hear him. It's extremely low.
Oh. Somebody run interference.
I think it's my end, you know. I don't know what's going on here.
Okay. All right. I don't know when Louis will hear me, but I'm a bit disturbed at the turn of events.
Speak a little louder for me, no?
Yeah, I'm talking louder. I'm a bit disturbed at the turn of events coming out of the withdrawal yesterday. It's not that they have not lobbied for other things. It's not like they just got up and just pull out of their hat and withdraw their service. They have been asking, they have been hammering. They signed petitions, they wrote letters. They've been in the media, been on social media. And the government has not answered any one of these petitions or letters. And so they decided to withdraw their service. Yes, there may be some persons that have seized the opportunity to make mischief. And from what I'm gathering, it's not by the organizers, or it was the organizers' intent. And then the government response is just lawlessness and disorder. They will not bow to that. And then you call a state of emergency. Mr. Patterson, you're aiming to be on the runway to be the government of the day soon. Is this the same kind of behavior we'll get from you? Because once people have power, they change, you know. Because I remember some pronouncement our current Prime Minister made prior to being the government. You know, the dead baby situation is one of them and others. And then he does a 180-degree turn when he's in office. I can't support persons that are two-mouthed. I can't support wagonists. I can't support people that you know, they're brown nose because they're trying to assume leadership or power. And they'll say what the people want, and then when they get into the seat, it's something different. Is that the kind of thing we're going to expect from a UIC government?
Absolutely not. As you know, though, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And so what you're seeing throughout Jamaica's political history since 1944, when the first GLP government was elected, until now, is a consolidation of power in the seat of the prime minister. When you have the power to appoint 13 of the 21 senators, when you have the power over who sits as a minister unilaterally and can appoint and remove ministers at will, when you have such significant power, unchecked power, when you can win a supermajority of the House of Representatives with only 21% of the voting population supporting you, then you have this kind of result. That is why the UIC is committed to changing the system. We're not just going to offer you political platitudes that win us election. We want to change the system, move away from the so-called Westminster system of governance, where you have partisan divide and improper checks and balances. So we want a true republic in Jamaica, where we have proper checks and balances between the House of Representatives, the Senate, and the Executive. Separate them, have subject matter expertise running the ministries, and having policies and programs designed to protect the interest of Jamaicans from politicians. So the UIC is a very, very different animal, if you will. We're going to bring about real transformation in Jamaica when we're elected.
All right, so Patterson, let me just ask you this question straight. I don't want the political answer. I want the Joseph Patterson answer, the true answer to the same question. Because, you know, too many persons have come vying for power and they give it this pretty speech. I don't like pretty speeches, you know. I don't like fancy talk. I'm straight and raw. Let me give you a little history. My father was the first black president for the Jamaica Gas and Retailers Association. He called the first strike in the gas industry in Jamaica. So I'm just trying to show you the lineage I'm coming from. And, you know, I don't believe in blocking roads and stuff like that. I don't support that. But I believe in peaceful demonstration. I believe in peace, people standing up for their right peacefully and using decorum and lobbying and diplomacy to get the results that we need. I don't want to see a government where it's disconnected from the people. Don't listen to the people and don't recognize the needs of the people and only self-serve themselves and their family and friends. I need a Joseph Patterson answer, not the UIC answer.
Well, the truth is, you know, it just so happens that the UIC answer is also the Joseph Patterson answer. But let me put this in context for you a little bit more and try to just bring it down to earth. Now, when a person decides to form a third party in Jamaica, that's not an ordinary thing, because we know the history of third parties in Jamaica. We know it's a massive uphill battle. When a Jamaican decides not to join one or the other of the two parties, you know that is a huge sacrifice, because it's connection that run things in this country. You know that. It's political connections. So in Jamaica, if you want to be a wealthy person, the chances of you doing so outside of one of the two political parties is slim to none, which is why we have a prime minister who is roughly my age, but most people, our age group in this country, would never have the amount of wealth that he has amassed, having spent all of his working life in politics. So the point I'm making is this. When you see a Joseph Patterson pursuing an agenda like this, you can be assured that it is for more than just the political platitudes and the games that they have played with us over the last 78 years. I am about real change, transformative change, change at the grassroots level of our country. And believe it or not, Mr. Clark, it is the system more than anything else, plus the leadership, which we're lacking in this country. If we change the leadership, but we don't change the system, we will have severe problems. If we change the system, but we don't change the leadership, we'll have problems. So the UIC is bringing about a twofold solution: new, transparent, clean leadership. We have had no association with the past. You know, both political parties have had a significant contribution to the crime problem in Jamaica by being conduits for the creation of garrisons and gangs and gun trafficking. We know that. That's history. The Jamaica needs a new party that is divorced from that. One that does not have that as a part of their DNA, that will have the credibility to stand up and bring real change to the crime problem in Jamaica. We also need a decolonized mindset to run our country. Right now, those who have run our country come up through two parties that are colonial in nature, that has maintained a colonial mindset of master-slave economics, which is why we have the problems right now with the transport operation. So the Joseph Patterson answer, fortunately, is the UIC answer. And what you see is what you get.
All right. I'm glad you said that. But here's the follow-up question. Since last week, there's been a movement trying to get the ticket system addressed in the transport sector. Have you, Joseph Patterson, or the UIC sat down with any of these organizations that represent the transport sector to date?
Yes, we have been in dialogue with TODS to date, but most importantly, we have actually spoken with people in the field. Like many of our members, believe it or not, are taxi drivers. Many of our supporters are bus operators. So I talked to them directly. In fact, I should have gone on the road with one a few weeks ago to actually drive with him. That's my plan. I'm going to drive with him throughout Kingston and observe and physically be there in the sun and driving with him and watching the operations. I have seen some of it standing at the sidelines, watching how the police operate and so on. But I'm going to drive with him and listen to the passengers and feel it. But I fully understand the issue. The issue is, Mr. Clark, it's actually not rocket science. It's very, very simple. If you do not have a public transportation policy that has teeth and that is practical, ensuring that, okay, where do you park to pick up and drop off customers? Mr. Clark, many Jamaicans now go walk all the way down to one spot in a Timbuktu to go find a taxi. They might try and make it, they might try to get home from work, from school. So if you're between 3:30 on the clock, down to, say, Ruthven Road where you turn off, people are walk and a congregate and want to get a taxi. They might wait for the bus will take long for come. They want to jump in a taxi and move. Let us design the system to match our reality here in Jamaica. Don't design a system which is disconnected from our reality and then now penalize those who are trying to make it work. Mind you, the taxi operators, one of the reasons why they also drive the way they do, the way that we don't like, some bad way and so on. Remember, they're running against the clock to make money to pay their bills at the end of the week. Why do they have to do that? It's by policy. If you improperly design and improperly schedule and also have too many people on one route that is not matched with the demographics, you're going to have problems.
Exactly. But I just want to point out something to you. You said something about you're in dialogue with TODS. But I'm going to give you a wake-up call. Do you know what TODS is? TODS is not an association,
I don't want, I'm
going to go there with you. I'm going to go there with you. I'm going to go there with you. TODS is a self-owned company.
Yeah.
So they have no interest in the sector. So you're talking to the wrong people.
Well, let me tell you this.
Speaking to people like One Voice.
Let me interrupt you. I must tell you, I was very impressed with the announcement provided by TODS. Sorry, not by TODS, by One Voice. And I will be engaging Mr. Finnegan and others to talk more with One Voice and others. I am open to the entire sector and industry. We're one Jamaicans. Now, we know in Jamaica we always have some problems in the way we organize ourselves and the way we deal with each other. Let's see if we can transcend that and find common ground and work together for the interest of all Jamaicans and for those in the sector.
Yes, sir. 1 second, Jeffrey. You spoke about the colonization mentality. And what you have to understand is that 3 ships didn't go to Africa, and just capture black people to put them in slavery. It had to be black people selling them out. And it's the same thing happening in the transportation sector. Most of these presidents are receiving a kickback from you know who to keep
all the name man from government. What the behind wrong with you?
Right. And keep them in line.
Yes.
It is obvious. Because prior to Sunday night, One Voice was an abomination to the group TODS. You couldn't mention a name, One Voice, or anybody from One Voice.
Remember, you still have Louis Barton in line. Louis, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Are you hearing them?
I just want, Yeah, I'm hearing it now. Yes,
Okay,
I'm
good.
hearing.
So I just
I'm
want
hearing
you to
both sides.
understand the context, Mr. Patterson. If you're vying for government, you need to be talking to everybody. And I agree with what you're saying. You're going to do a drive round. Me not know why you're going to want taxi alone, when you're going to want bus. Going as a regular passenger.
Yes, yes, yes.
And just stay and pay the fare and just observe what the drivers go through.
Louis,
Because
you have anything to say to this?
when a
Yeah.
taxi man gets stopped or a bus
Are you
man
hearing
gets
me?
stopped, yeah.
Let me say, from a Clark, I would want to create an atmosphere of unity right now because on a personal level, I know the people in Todd's and I know that they are genuinely for transport operators. I wouldn't want to create a division right now
Louis Barton,
to
are you
say that,
sure?
yeah, I know them and I know that they are for transport operators. If they do have some ulterior motive, I don't know and I cannot speak to that, right? But I am looking for a unity. If you say, all you have to do is say that you are for transport operators, I am with you. You might in the long run change your mind or do something that is anti us. But right now we need so much support, so much ground support that I'm not willing to take a chance to isolate anybody from us. We have to bring everybody on board. That is my position with
Mr.
regards
Barton,
to every
Louis,
organization. We need to come together and we need everybody from whatever point of view you have an input into where we're going. That is where I am.
Sir Louis, I agree with you. And
Yeah.
I personally have been pushing for that. I personally have been pushing for a unification. And it has been shut
Yeah.
down. Jeffrey can attest to it. Shut
But
down
Hold on
with
here now.
rudeness.
Let me say something now here, which of that I have never had gone publicly about certain things, but I've never gone public about certain things. And since you all are in this area of talking about a togetherness, the only way the transport sector can come together, and Louis want to vex me this morning, can't vex me, my still friend.
All right.
Until the presidents of the associations stop taking kickback from government, until the presidents of the associations think about the people that they represent and don't think about the political parties. Okay? And
Jeffrey,
until the presidents of the associations can say to the government, listen to me, man, we not stand with no nonsense we're going on with. We're going to continue to stick out until you listen to us. You can't have a prime minister who believes that he get where he is because he just go up to Jamaica House and to Parliament. The people of this country voted for him. And he must understand that the people of this country demand accountability of him. And he must understand that the people of this country need to hear from him. And when he feels like to give an address to the nation,
Yeah.
in any other modern democracy, and a situation like this arose in your country, and all you can do is call for state of emergency.
Yeah.
No,
And
they
don't
picked at the,
address the situation in this country. Because
Jeffrey,
what?
they
You're going
picked
to
at the
use
2% negative.
and pardon me?
They picked at the 2% negative of the movement yesterday. The 2% negative of the situation. The old good and the 98%, they never addressed that at any point. They looked at the 2% negative. And that's what they used to make a release and to make a pronouncement this morning. I am disappointed. I shower every day and I am disappointed. Trust me.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
disappointed.
you must
Well, I don't
understand,
shower,
bro.
you know. Hold on, Mr. Patterson. The only shower is the water that God provided. I am neither shower, stand firm, no leader banya. I am a
Well,
Jamaican and Jamaica come first for me, no political party.
Jamaica
And
first.
until we get that in our thick skull.
One Jamaica, and we're stronger together. Now, you do understand that the way that Jamaica has evolved since 1944 until now is a strategy. The strategy is to divide, distract, and conquer. Divide, distract, and extract. So what you have happening, and you're always going to have this, whether it is TODS or One Voice or UIC, the moment the Jamaican people try to break away from what these two parties have been sent to maintain, they're going to come with money and opportunities and use that to divide us. So Mr. Jeffrey, Mr. Tavares, I can assure you that they're going to continue to push money at whoever tries to break up the system. Now we,
one thing I know, I can speak on the behalf of Reverend Finnegan. Nobody can give Finnegan $1 billion or $2 trillion to stand for what he stands for.
So what they're going to do, Mr. Tavares, what they're going to do, they're going to find somebody in One Voice that is close to leadership, and they're going to try to find a way to buy them. That's just normal.
No. I am not for sale, and I speak on the behalf of Finnegan. Finnegan is not for sale either.
Mr. Jeffries, you are not for sale. I am not for sale. Mr. Clark is not for sale. But guess what? There will be somebody in your midst who will be for sale.
That's a for them business.
Yes.
Not for sale either.
And what we have to do now, we have to find a way.
Something to this.
Go ahead, yes.
Mr. Patterson, let me just say this, right? I don't think it is so much for sale. What I want to emphasize is some policies, right? Louis Barton might not like the JLP, right? But at the same time, if the JLP said that they want to put in a national transportation policy, I am going to be working with them. If TODS want to do something, call a strike. And I've been on many failed strike and demonstration with TODS, but I'm thinking that it is for a particular certain people. So I will defend that. So I don't want to emphasize or to say that I am not for sale or Jeffrey is not for sale or Patterson Clark is not for sale. I want us to concentrate on the particular issue so that we can go there and defend it. If we can't defend that issue, then hey, step back. Right now, my thing with transportation is to say, let us have a national public passenger transportation policy. And none of the parties in Jamaica, I'm excluding the UIC right now, but none of the major parties is talking about that, is addressing that issue. And they have been around from the 1930s.
Yes, and remember,
and they have not over that time period talk about that, including other things. But I'm talking about transportation right now.
Yes, well, I want to share your sentiments to a large degree, that we need to focus not so much on personalities or any individual group, but on the solution, which is, of course, having a policy. However, we can't be too naive and not realize some of the challenges that we're faced with. Now, my position as president of the UIC, as founder of the UIC, as a member of the UIC, is I have seen enough of our history to know how these things play out. Some of you guys might be older than me. I don't know how old you are. But if any of you have paid attention to Jamaica's politics from pre-1944 to 1944, all the way through to 62 and now, we should have learned enough now to see, Mr. Clark, where we're heading.
True.
If we continue to play the game of pretending that we're dealing with two organizations that have the best interest of Jamaica at heart, we have a problem. Because they're
organized crime.
Yes, we already see the evidence. Now, I'm a man of evidence. We have seen the evidence. Earlier on, Mr. Tavares was pointing out, he made it clear, they can't manage garbage. Let's look at it. They can't manage garbage. They can't manage hospitals. They can't manage road repairs, maintenance, design, construction. They can't manage the dollar. They can't manage inflation. They can't manage education. My God, what else is left?
They can't manage crime.
You can't, oh, geez. How can you be a government which is pulling in more than $900 billion a year? Listen, my man, if this was a company, none of us here would have tolerated as a shareholder having them continue to manage the affairs of this country. If this was a company, none of us would do it. All of us here as shareholders would have gotten up in a shareholders meeting and said, by God, we have to fire all of them management them. No, they have had 78 years of experience and they still can't manage a public transportation system. After 78 years, we're not talking about how we come apart, you know. The PNP is over 80 years old. The GLP is over 79 years old. And you want to tell me, in their collective wisdom, they cannot find the competences, they cannot find the competences to put together a well-planned, very orderly, efficient, and effective public transportation. All they have to do, even go borrow something, go borrow it from another country. Then if you can't think, you don't have the brain, just go borrow it from Singapore, no? Go borrow with them.
May I say something to you now? You're there, so they must go borrow. You're not in the borrow enough. The country's
not the money. Not the money.
Hold on a minute. 180-something-year-old. The Bible said by reason of strength. 170. By reason of strength again. Louis Barton, you there?
Yeah, man, I'm here.
All right. And they have some of them in the parliament. One say, him not stand up and put on pampers on him. I know, Mr. Him say so.
What him say?
Him not stand up and put on pampers and push him out in a wheelchair.
But
yet, they pass law that when they reach a certain age, they must retire. And them still inside there. Yeah. You see what's going on in this country?
Jeffrey.
Constitutional reform in this country. We're here talking about getting rid of the Queen, getting rid of the King, and go Republic where? Is it going to solve Jamaica's crime pandemic? Is it going to solve Jamaica's economic and social problem we face in this country? Is it going to solve Jamaica's unemployment situation we face in this country? Huh? Louis Barton, answer the question for me. Yeah, comrade.
Thanks for outing me. I don't mind anyway. I don't mind. You know that. But the thing is, we need you talk about constitutional reform, right? I remember, and I hope I'm not diverting, but there was a group of us who asked for local government reform, and that was a big thing in one of those previous elections. We got local government reform. We got the Portmore municipality was supposed to be a template for local government reform, but it turned out not to be that. It turned out just to be another political organization that he used to dispense the benefits, scarce benefits and spoils. So I mean, we can always talk about these nice things: constitutional reform, local government reform of different things, but we're not going anywhere. Probably the UIC is the one who need to take on, and I don't know if there are, but they need to take on issues and get supporters to deal with issues. Not so much. I don't know Mr. Patterson face to face, but I don't need to like Mr. Patterson. I need to like Mr. Patterson's ideas and where he's intend to carry the country, and that is where I am heading. Policies, not personalities.
Hold a minute, my gentlemen. We are on the Make We Talk YouTube channel. We're speaking about our crime situation, state of emergency, and also the ticket amnesty. We don't want to draw away. We don't want to draw away from that. And I am trying to get in contact with somebody from the One Voice group. If you know anybody, let them call me. I want to know what is going on the roads. What is going on with the meeting? Because I get to understand that the One Voice group was never invited to Jamaica House or to the Ministry of Transportation for her meeting. Only the Vumvavan, the Vumvavi was invited. Is what kind of dibby thing going on in this country? Huh? What kind of dibby thing that going on in the country? That's why Mutty Perkins is saying, no, the center cannot hold major anarchy upon us. Dictatorship is upon us. You were saying something, Sir Clark, then Sir Patterson. Go ahead.
Yes, Sir Jeffrey. I've asked for unity in this sector on numerous occasions and thrown cold water on it. And my suggestion was that to have groups in each parish, where from each association in each parish they send 2 representatives, and I would suggest maybe 3: the president, the vice president, and the secretary, and represent each association. Then you choose a leader from that group to represent the parish, and then have the 14 parishes group leaders meet, and it's sort of a sponge to capture the information to create a proper transportation policy, or to lobby for certain things. Because one of the problems I find, when they ask for fare increase, one group is saying 80%, one say 50%, one say 100%. The government is down and laugh because there's not one voice. And that is why I think this group One Voice has grown so fast. It's because persons now want one message going forward. And I think all the organizations need to come and put the differences aside, put the power struggle aside, and just reason the thing out, choose one person to lead, and then approach the government under one umbrella. I bet you the day they do that, they get everything they want. But until people stop taking money to be quiet and stop trying to
better than this.
Yeah, or stop deflecting, because I saw that so obvious with the task group from last week to today. Mr. Newman came out and said one thing yesterday and was back in the One Voice thing, and then today I water down what the decision was, and he said, "Oh, we're going to go back to the streets tomorrow again." And then this morning you're saying something different. It's confusion, and that's why the government don't take them serious.
And that's why
they get away with the 2% negative to highlight, because nobody's going to challenge them until they come with one thing, one document, do a draft, and submit that. That's the only time they're going to get what they want. Just Saturday night, Jeffrey, we had the shadow minister, Michael Phillips. What did he say more than one time?
He said more than once, and I think Louis knew about this, because when Louis and I met with him and the opposition leader at the opposition leader office, one thing Michael Phillips keep on saying, that the transport sector is as divided as any political party. They are not united. And when you hear that come from a politician, Louis Barton, you must know.
Yeah.
Louis?
Yeah. I fully agree with you. But let me give you another history of organizing in transport sector. I first came into this thing when we formed. It was a group of us, including Mr. Newman, who was the chief organizer of an organization named NATO, which was the National Association of Transport Operators. It was in every crevice of Jamaica. We went to every parish and organized association. Now, we had a unity at that time, but the unity, and it's very important for us to recognize that money play a part in this, right? Because when we were organizing it, we did not have the amount of money that was necessary to get us going at full speed. I think it was Pickersgill. Bobby Pickersgill was the minister at that time, and he gave permission for operators to have an association. All of these associations that you see throughout the country now, I think it's about 30 to 40 of them. All of them were given the opportunity to have members in their groups and have those associations advocate for their members. But in doing that, you're giving the association the power over their members, because the members must pay their association fee and the members must join an association. But the association became dictatorial. And although in the beginning, all of these associations were members of NATO, which is like the umbrella group, the main body, the uniting force. These local associations became so powerful because of the economic strength that they discarded NATO. They left NATO and started to do their own thing. That they attempted to fight to start, at least they did start an association, a national association, but it wasn't as effective as NATO. And all of this, this unity have to do with money. And probably, as you guys are saying, some people get money from our ministry, whatever. It could have something to do with, but what I'm trying to emphasize is that it have to do with money. Organizing have to do with monetary strength, and the person who gives you the money is the one who have the strength over you. So if we as transport operators want to dominate our lives, then we have to make sure that the money is coming from us, from the grassroots, and not from any top person or a rich person or a politician or anything. We have to get independent. But to get independent, first of all, we have to know ourselves. Because right now, we don't even know ourselves. 1 minute you're saying something, another minute you're saying something different. So that is lack of knowledge of yourself. But if you don't even know yourself, you can't even finance yourself. You don't know what to finance. I just want to say, come back to Kwame Ture. You have to organize. If we don't realize that and take some practical steps towards that, including making sure that the finance is there, or how you're going to finance, we're not going nowhere.
So, Patterson?
Mr. Louis Barton, you are echoing everything that I would say when it comes on to the issue at hand from an organizing standpoint, that you have to be independent, you have to be unified, and you have to figure out your finances. Very much the same things that the UIC has had to do. We have had to make sure that we are independent of the PSOJ oligarchy in terms of them being able to donate to us and call the shots. We have had to make sure we know ourselves, understand what we want to achieve. And thirdly, we are pursuing those reforms that you and Mr. Tavares is identifying. We need constitutional reform, but not just a top level, high level niceties like removing the Queen and saying you have a president, but it's ceremonial and meaningless, and keeping the same subsystems in place. We have to change the whole thing in a way that's going to work for the Jamaican people. And so we're about real reforms, real changes. So for example, in the transportation sector, let's just fix the problems we know. Let's make sure that we have a system that's fair about allocating routes, a system that's transparent about where you can and cannot park, that is consistent with the way our people move and operate. And let us make sure that we do not use the police force as a means of raising revenues for the government by ticketing our operators. Let's be very clear on these things. And let's also understand the economics of operating in the space. There's some clear economics factors. So you cannot ask, give people bucket with holes in it for carry water. So you cannot ask the transport sector, the public transport operators, to carry the bucket of delivering people, moving people and goods around the country without having the appropriate rates that matches the cost of operation and allows for them to turn a profit to take care of their families. So we need to have a free and fair market arrangement that understand these things, and not one where the government seeks to pretend as if it's governing while simply allowing the people of Jamaica to suffer because of their lack of good governance.
Louis,
Yeah.
I want to ask you a question, Mr. Barton. Mr. Barton. Why is it? Do you have any idea why is it that the Transport Authority, the government Transport Authority, continue giving out road license, and they know they don't have a parking facilities for the halfway tree metropolitan area?
Why, Jeffrey? I know. I suspect that the last time licenses were issued en masse, I suspect it was a political move. I think the minister at the time, and although I'm going to criticize him now, I still have high regards for him. But Minister Bobby Montague at the time, I think he issued license, not so much because he believed that operators should have license or people in Jamaica should have more license, but that it would get him a benefit to his party. So I'm thinking that what should be an economic issue, the issuing of license is supposed to be an economic issue, became a political issue. So that is why we issuing license, but we don't have no money to build the parking lot or to put parking in place. We have, as a matter of Jeffrey, you and I know that they have parking place right there in half a tree. We
Yes.
went and look at it, right? But is another political decision not to give people parking in half a tree. As a matter of fact, that place in half a tree could also be a market,
For the
a
halfway
ground
tree
surface
area, yes.
market in half a tree, because right in front of the NCB Bank and along that stretch there, people selling food. That therefore there's and people buying from them. So therefore there's a demand for a market.
You know,
and in this era of modern technology, we should be building a modern market in half a tree.
You know something, Louis Barton?
And market meaning market for transportation operators. So.
Right.
That's why I'm calling it.
You know something, Louis Barton? I don't believe that these people has any vision for this country, you know. And if they had vision for this country, and if they respect the people who put them there, they would have find ways and means of make them feel happy.
But who put them
what
there?
They do, hold on for Mr. Patterson, I make you come in. What they do is give their friends and cronies the old housing ministry. Because the old housing ministry in halfway tree, they have a justice center on it. All right? And they build it there. They put a justice center on it. They give half of the parking lot to the JS, where the old JBC was. And I pass there, and it's when I pass there and I see some tree start growing inside of the old housing, the old justice ministry, I start raising hell. And I keep on asking the question why they can't give the old housing ministry building, because it is a sore eye in the heart of halfway tree. Give it to the taxi drivers and bus drivers, as what Louis just said. Create an atmosphere where you have a market in there where people can go there. Take the people off the streets in halfway tree. Put a proper facility there. Rent it out or lease. I will lease it. If they put up the building, I will lease it from them. But the fact of the matter is, if you don't put something in place for the people to go there, for the taxi men and women to go there and pick up passengers, for the commuters to go there, for rain the fathers don't have a tree for anybody to shelter rain. More than the JUT center.
Yeah.
And I am trying to find out something here. They talk about, they have a vision for the people. They speak about a part in the Bible say, we will not harm you. We will prosper you. What are you doing to the people of this country now? What are you doing to the poor pauperizing bus and taxi drivers? When they decide to carry out the army because they want a state of emergency. For do what?
Yeah.
The time has come, Louis Barton, Joseph Patterson, and Mercer Clark. The time has come for us to stop the chat according to the Baroness of the Commonwealth. She didn't know chat in action. So the time has come for us to stop the chat and do something. The country is in need of help. We're 60 years old. And majority of people have running water in their pipe. We're 60 years old, and the people of St. Elizabeth still carrying water. We're 60 years old, and we don't have a proper crime plan in this country. We're 60 years old. When last time we built a hospital in this country? When last time we built a water reservoir in this country? And yet we're 60 years old? Huh? What the hell is going on in this country?
The time has come.
Jeffrey,
The time has come.
I just want to add.
Go ahead, Louis.
Mr. Patterson, yeah, okay. I just want to add. You said this present withdrawal of service, and there's a mindset in the transport sector, in the leadership at least. If we don't say demonstration, we say withdrawal of service. I go along with it because I don't want to upset anything, but I want to say, and between us here and whoever else is listening, that we need to realize that we have to demonstrate fatigue. We can't take a back seat. It's not a withdrawal of service I'm defending. I'm defending a demonstration for something. We need something, right? And then with this present, we call it withdrawal of service. What is happening with it today? Was it supposed to be a withdrawal of service for 1 day, or 3 days, or 1 week, or until the minister, until the government tell us something? The first time I heard of this withdrawal, as I say, I'm not in Jamaica right now, but the first time I heard of the withdrawal of service was, I think it's Sunday night. And what I heard, we didn't have a withdrawal of service until the government something positive. Now, sending the police soldier at us is positive. So we should still join service. But as I said, it takes organizing. We need to organize so that all of us are on the same page. One of us cannot be saying this, and another one saying that, and we organize.
Hold on a minute, because the news that I am getting here, it is very disturbing. Very disturbing news, but what to do? Let me see.
Gentlemen, I have to leave you now.
Breaking news.
Can you hear me?
Jeffrey, you gone?
No, I'm right here. I just run a breaking news a while ago, Louis. Let me what I'm getting to understand, Louis Barton, that it may have a 3rd day of withdrawal of service.
Okay. Okay.
This is Make We Talk Breaking News. This is Make We Talk Breaking News. What we're getting to understand at this moment, that it may be a 3rd day of island-wide withdrawal of service with the transport sector. We do not know. As soon as we get more news, we'll pass it on to you. But what we're getting to understand at this moment, that there may be a 3rd day. What we're getting to understand, that there may be a 3rd day of island-wide protest with the transport sector. News just reaching us that there may be a 3rd day of island-wide protest or withdrawal of service with the transport sector, bus and taxi operators. As soon as we get more news, we'll pass it on to you. We're speaking to Joseph Patterson of UIC. We're speaking to Louis Barton, president of the transport, president of JATU, and also Marcel Clark, the president of the St. Thomas Crime Prevention Committee, and the extended version of the Make We Talk program. We're speaking about how can the transport sector get what they need from the government. Mr. Clark, if you're there, come back on for me, sir. We're still trying to get some more news coming into us. We're still trying to find Mr. Finnegan, for us to give us some news. Can you get any news from Mr. Finnegan, Sir Clark?
I was just trying to get him, but I understand they're locked in some meetings in preparation for the 1 o'clock meeting. They got a by the way invite to Mr. Newman. Don't know how official the invitation is. That's the latest I have, but the operators are adamant in continuing their protest of withdrawal of service. I understand that they have instructed them to come off the road and to just stay home as their form of protest and not be on the street in any gathering. Also, it seems as if it will be an island-wide effort the third day. There's a third day possibly on the table, especially if there's no resolve coming out of this 1 o'clock meeting. But they are very restive. I only was able to speak to one person from One Voice briefly. They are engaged in other things and they can't come online with us to give a first hand. I spoke to about 2 of them. So I can't locate Mr. Finnegan at this time.
So do you have any idea if at 1 o'clock we can go live to them or what?
Not at this time. I can't say. I don't have any details as to how the meeting will be. If it's a face-to-face, or if it's a closed-door meeting or what. I can't say.
With the Minister of Transport or with the Prime Minister?
I believe it's the Minister of Transport.
But wasn't that meeting set for 8:30 this morning?
Yes, I got a call from Mr. Finnegan. He felt that the meeting was pushed back to sort of watch to see what the response would have been
from the Prime Minister.
No, from the operators today, to see if they would go back to work or more of them would go back to work instead of just a few working like yesterday. It's a sort of a bargaining chip to see how much chips they have or how much chips they have lost. So if say there's a 30% saturation today, or there was a 10% yesterday, and today we have a 50, the government stands a better position to bargain. You know what I mean? That's what the feeling they're getting. That's what he said to me this morning.
So you're saying to me now that through the leadership of the president of TODS, they could get the One Voice group into the meeting. That's what you're saying?
I heard a voice note from Mr. Newman that said that 2 from Jatu, and he had confirmed with Jatu, and 2 from One Voice, that they were allowed to bring 2 persons, and he could reach out to some other groups. That's what he said in the voice note. So it's not a direct invitation from any government body. It's from Mr. Newman, and that is where the problem is.
No, but the fact of the matter is the government, we must admit the fact that the government only recognize TADS and Edgerton Newman, you know. A chance of it. Louis, they recognize you, Louis?
I don't know. Jatu was always a non-recognized association because of our advocacy. So I don't know what they I think we were invited to the meeting anyway. My vice president told me that that we were supposed to be part of it.
But Sir Barton, did you see the news broadcast yesterday evening with the information minister?
No.
He mentioned clearly TODS and Mr. Newman as the organizers of the withdrawal. One Voice was never mentioned. Jatu was not mentioned. Nobody else.
Yeah.
And that is bad.
Yeah, for publicity, probably so. But you say my thing, Marcel, is that as long as we're at the table, I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you. They should mention who is involved, but I just want to be our voice to be heard. I would love for each parish in Jamaica, the association from each parish, to be part of it, because whatever we're doing in the KMTR is not what going to affect somebody in Christiana.
Exactly.
So we need a national coming together, but as far as the meeting today, Jatu was invited. Put it that way. I know Jatu.
What I'm saying, Mr. Barton, what Mr. Morgan said yesterday, that they are in dialogue with the transportation sector the organizers towards
Yeah.
Mr. Newman, headed by Mr. Newman. That's what was said. So it is as if it's just
Yeah.
one body represents the entire sector. And they know
Yeah.
it's not so.
Yeah.
That is
I
dangerous.
hear Marcel, but one of the things that we have to recognize, you see, is that Egerton Newman is the mouthpiece for transport operators in Jamaica.
No, you're wrong, sir.
Whether
You're
by
wrong. You're wrong.
no, hold
You're wrong.
on. Sorry, hold on, Marcel. Whether by default or by his own organizing ability, he is the one that. This is sometimes I'm on the road with him, and people on the road who really don't have anything to do with transportation, they say, see the transport man there, and they point to Mr. Newman. They're not pointing to me, I'm not known. But Newman is known because of his advocacy, his organizing ability, and all of that. We who are not part of his organization have to get ourselves to the position. But I don't want to tear him down. We can criticize many things that does, but don't tear him down because of his advocacy for transport operator.
Hold on there, Louis. Let me make something clear to you, Louis. Sir Barton, with all due respect to you, I, for one, not tearing Mr. Barton, Mr. Newman down.
Yeah.
You see, what we are saying is this, that the government must, I agree that Mr. Newman has always been the face and the voice of the transport sector in this country. And we must give him his due. But what the government need to understand, that you have other associations. Yes, they may believe that Newman is the head of all the associations. I think that's what they believe, Sir Clark.
Yeah.
I understand that, and that is what I'm saying. Why is it that nobody is putting themselves to be heard? They're too laid back. There's no
Mr. Clark,
unification.
can I come in here? And again, I like to bring these things down to the reality, right? If Mr. Newman has found a way to form association with those in power that they feel it fit to recognize him, then they do that to their advantage, right? They realize that it's advantageous for them to work with Mr. Newman as the face than to work with somebody else as the face, right? So, for example, you've never heard the government mention the UIC because they don't want that to be heard anyway. But I want to leave you now with this. I want to leave now with this because I have to run. Somebody just wrote to me a while ago on WhatsApp, somebody who's following the movement. She says, you know these things. Please explain more about this SOE. Is this because of the taximen? That's what she wrote to me. I said to her, yes, to prevent strike actions against the government and to be able to lock up protesters easily. To which she responded, sigh, more hammer treatment. Frankly, successive governments are the cause of the situation. They hold bus fares at a rate that's only sustainable if the drivers do what they do. Government needs the inputs. Petrol prices today are significantly more than they were 2 years ago, and yet government insists on the fare structure being what it is. It is not fair, it is not sustainable. Then you close. Drivers are free to ask for whatever. Government response shows more lack of creative problem solving, and therein lies the problem. We do not have a government that is responsive, that is caring, that is understanding, and which is focused on fixing the nation's problems. It has different priorities than ours. Its priority is to have as much access to our tax dollars as possible, hold on to power for as long as possible, while not necessarily delivering on the things we need. On that note, I have to leave you, and let us stay focused. We cannot keep working with the same gangs and hoping that they're going to do differently from what they've done for the last 78 years. All the best. Take care until next time.
Thank you very much, Joseph Patterson, president of UIC. Thank you so much, sir. We
You're
still
welcome.
have online with us Louis Barton. Louis, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here, but Jeffrey, I have to do an
Yes,
exit
I'm going to
also.
let you go now. Your final word before you go.
Well, I'm just hoping that this third day that that you just announced, the breaking news, is a reality, because the government need to understand that there are some people in Jamaica who need transportation to go to their various business, and they are not, especially in Kingston, they are not providing the type of transportation that people need. JUTC is not providing the type of transportation to carry. They don't even have enough buses. Like some time ago, Jeffrey, let me just, I'm wrapping up, but I'm I'm extending it. Some time ago, early last year, I think, or sometime when Minister Montague was the minister, they told us that JUTC need and put out 400 buses per day to carry the passengers in the KMTR. I heard yesterday that they could barely make 250. Even during the strike, they had to struggle to put out 250 buses. They need some reform. They need not a reform. They need a revolution in the KMTR as far as transportation is concerned. You cannot be locking up or harassing transport operators, taximen, and private busmen for taking up passengers. And while you're saying that they should not be on that route, if they are not on the route, then the passenger is not going anywhere. and the whole thing, for us as operators, we are providing the vehicles to take people where they are going, because the people are demanding those vehicles. The people demanding transportation, government not providing it. We can provide it. Let us come together and work out something. Jeffrey, sorry I have to go.
Thank you very much, Louis Barton, President of JET2. Thank you for coming on, sir. Thank you for calling in.
You're welcome, sir. See you soon.
Thank you. We are trying to delay this broadcast to see if we can get any news pertaining to tomorrow. It is a possibility, news that I'm getting, that members of the transport sector will have another stick out for the third day. The government of Jamaica decided to have a state of emergency. They have not addressed the situation with the public transport sector. And that's very unfortunate. We just want to say thanks to Sir Clark for coming on. Thank you very much, sir. If there's any other breaking news, we'll have to get you back on, sir. Sir Clark?
Yeah, man, no problem. I'll make myself available once I get it. But I just want to thank you for your efforts that you're making with this making your channel available. The transport sector needs a voice, and it needs every means and avenue that it can release or express itself, that the general public can fully understand and comprehend what they're going through. A lot of people make some pronouncements against these drivers in ignorance. But when you sit down and edify them to the challenges and the amount of tickets they get on a daily basis, then they fully understand why a man can have 120 or 1,000 outstanding tickets. And then furthermore, some of them are already paid, but still in the system. So they're being treated unfairly. And I think the government needs to address those inadequacies in the system, the inadequacies of how the police issue tickets, in terms of, I think there should be a limit of how much ticket one officer can give, or at a particular traffic stop, because you may have 4 police in the vehicle. So since I then can only give 3 tickets, the 4 police give 3 tickets. So you still get back to the high numbers. I really think there needs to be some kind of cap on how the tickets are issued. That's my final thoughts. And thanks again for having me.
Thank you very much, Sir Clark. Thank you for coming on. The great-great-grandson of Paul Bogle, hail from St. Thomas. We are going to see if we can get some more news. We're going to go off air. Just want to say to all my listeners and viewers, remember to like, share, and subscribe. We were talking to the president of the UIC, president of JATU, Louis Barton, chairman of the Crime Prevention Unit in St. Thomas, Sir Clark, and we were trying to get a hold of Mr. Finnegan, the communication director for the One Voice Taxi Group, but we couldn't because they were locked into an emergency meeting. Now, let me say this to the viewers and members and other public persons who are listening to us on the internet and other news and other organizations or any other system here. The government of Jamaica, Prime Minister Andrew Holness, had a press conference this morning at 8:30 or something at 9 o'clock. I carried it live. He did not address the situation with the public transport sector. What the Prime Minister, the Minister of National Security, who is the Deputy Prime Minister, and the Commissioner of Police, and the Chief of Defense Staff did was to have a state of emergency. Because they know for a fact that the people of this country has had enough. They know for a fact that the people of this country was going to rebel. So what they did was to put a state of emergency in place. That if anybody go out there, they can lock them up. That is the type of government that we have in this country. We don't have a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. And in any other modern democracy, if the public transport sector is at odds, the Prime Minister of the country would have addressed the situation. Now, this Prime Minister, who believe that he must not listen to the people, who believe that he must not talk to the people, went to the Governor General of Jamaica and say something about whatever, and decided to have a state of emergency in certain parts of this country, including Kingston and St. Andrew. And it is proven that the state of emergency is not solving Jamaica's crime situation. All the taximen and women are asking for is a ticket amnesty. And they refuse to give them a ticket amnesty. What they decided to do was to have a state of emergency. My fellow Jamaicans who are listening to us home and abroad, this is where Jamaica has come to. Is it that we're having a Vladimir Putin running Jamaica? Or a Xi Jinping of China? Or the little rocket man of North Korea? What is going on in Jamaica? The Police Federation is on the brink of having a stick out, a withdrawal of services too. Jamaica is in a crisis. A political, economic crisis. The criminals have become a clear and present danger to the national security of Jamaica. And the two political parties in this country are clueless in fighting crime in Jamaica. So I say to you all, my fellow Jamaicans out there, rise up, stand up, let your voices be heard. It is proven that these Zozos and Nenes and Zazas what they're having is not solving the crime situation. And if the Prime Minister of Jamaica really wanted to address the transport situation in Jamaica, this morning was a good morning for him to do it. He did not. Because he believed that he is the Prime Minister. He can do whatever he feels like to do. He do not remember that he's a servant of the people of this country. The Prime Minister is a chief servant of the people of Jamaica. The Deputy Chief Servant is the Minister of National Insecurity and Injustice, Dr. Harris Chan. Jamaicans, where is this country going? Where is Jamaica going? That's the question we need to ask ourselves. Where is Jamaica going? when we have a prime minister who don't listen to his people. The only time he listens to the Jamaican people is when election time around. The biggest drugs bust in the history of Jamaica. You don't hear a word from the Minister of National Security, nor the Commissioner of Police, nor the Prime Minister of Jamaica. You hear nothing from them. Yet he's having a conference come Sunday, the Labour Party 70th or whatever conference. And the same bus and taxi men have to transport the people to their conferences. And why he did that, you know? Because he know for a fact that if other buses from the rural Jamaica come into Kingston, that they're going to be a riot in this country pertaining to the amnesty. So what he did was to call for a state of emergency. And I want to find out if the opposition person on national security and the opposition leader, are they aware of this national state of emergency before it was announced? Because this prime minister is known to breach the constitution of this country many times and nothing comes out of it. You don't hear nothing from the Attorney General of Jamaica. The question was asked of the Prime Minister, did the opposition spokesperson and security and the opposition leader know anything about this state of emergency? And he danced around the question and gave some other answers. Is this the Jamaica we truly want to live in? And they're talking about a 2030 vision. And come Sunday at this conference, he's going to lay out a plan for the security of Jamaica. I want to hear it. I will be carrying it live because I want to hear what he's going to talk, what kind of nonsense he's going to say. So I'm saying to you all out there, the sound of my voice, let us not give up. Let us not surrender. Let us not give them the opportunity to lock us up or do anything else to us. But let us stand in a peaceful way and send a clear and present message to the Prime Minister of this country that you are the servant of the people of Jamaica. We're not in a totalitarian country. Jamaica is not a totalitarian country. The last time I checked, we're a democracy. And the people's voices must be heard. Stop this PNP and JLP thing, Jamaicans, and wake up. We're knocking behind our sister countries' Haiti's back door. For far too long, the people of Haiti suffer under politicians. And it's happening in Jamaica. Jamaica's gotten billions and billions of dollars to fight crime. Where are all those money? Where are all those money? The Police Federation is calling for their back money that they're supposed to get. The Police Federation is calling for ballistic vests, for uniforms, for shoes, for guns. And yet they're having a state of emergency. Because what? Is it that somebody's gaining from the money that is being spent in the state of emergency? The Minister of Finance told the chairman of the Police Federation that the police are a bunch of idiots. Not my words. The Minister of Finance, Dr. Nigel Clark, told the chairman of the Police Federation, Corporal Rowan James, that the police are a bunch of idiots. And he has the money to pay, but he's not going to pay them. So because the Prime Minister realized what is going on, the Prime Minister never see and could never imagine that the transport sector could come as organized as it come yesterday. he decided to have a state of emergency. He decided to call out the army and the this and the that and the devils know what. Election is around the corner, Prime Minister Holness. For far too long, politicians have come into this country. One that come with black man time now. Fly the gate, let in the prince, let in the pirate. One that come with mama loves the poor. At least if she was in power now, should have met with the bus and taxi operators. Give what is due to Portia Simpson Miller. If it was Bruce or Bruce Golding, he would have met with the transport sector. But this Prime Minister is shown to us that he's a dictator. Prime Minister Andrew Michael Holness is showing to the people of this country and the diaspora that he's a dictator, along with the Minister of National Insecurity and Injustice, along with the Commissioner of Police, Twiddly Dum Dum. How shall we continue living like this in this country? And yet every 5 years I come with something new. The People's National Party has no crime plan either. They're in disarray. They're fighting for power within their party. We're 60 years old, Jamaica. And we're talking about a 2030 vision to live and work where? In one of the most corrupt countries in the Caribbean. Where the criminals are becoming a clear and present danger to the national security of the citizens of this country? Is this a country we're talking about a 2030 vision? We need to ask ourselves the question. Is this the country we're going to leave for our children? Jamaicans, we need to find a crime plan for ourselves because the two political parties, termite has eaten out their brain. Termite has eaten out their brain. They don't have any. They don't have any know-it-all. Is it that they don't want to fight crime in Jamaica? That's the question I need to ask them. Is it that they don't want to fight the crime pandemic in this country? Is it that the crime is paying somebody of the elites of the Vumva and the Vumva V? How the guns are coming in? You're calling for a gun amnesty. When the borders around Jamaica are not protected, yet you're calling for a gun amnesty? And you can't give the bus and taxi operators a ticket amnesty, Prime Minister Holness? What you did was to call for a state of emergency because you have never seen the transport sector so organized. You all didn't realize that the transport sector will become so organized. I leave you all with this song. I leave you all this afternoon. Let us not weary. Let us not stand by. Let us continue to fight the good fight, Jamaicans. Because we are Jamaicans and we can stand up for this country. We run to other countries that let our country is bleeding within. Poor people are suffering. And the two political parties for 60 years has failed the people of this country. For 60 livelong years, the two political parties has failed the people of this country. For 60 livelong years, the two political parties can't solve the crime pandemic in this country. For 60 years, the two political parties hasn't built this country where it's supposed to be built. For 60 years, majority of Jamaicans don't have running water in their pipe. For 60 years, the breadbasket parish of St. Elizabeth is suffering from drought because they don't have running water. And you're talking that we're Jamaica 60? we celebrate 60 years of independence. Are we truly independent, Jamaica? You believe that getting away from the monarch in England gonna get us through independence? No. We have been putting political leaders in this country at the helm of this country. All they do is create disaster in this country, create mayhem in this country. The two political parties are the one who start the gangmanism in this country. The two political parties are the one who start the one other gang, the Dira gang, the Nira gang, and that kind of gang. No, it is out of hand and they can't do nothing about it. They can't do nothing about it because the gangs won't listen to them. And they refuse to give the police force the apparatus to fight the crime pandemic in Jamaica. It's not as if Jamaica not getting money to fight crime. It is getting money. But where's the money going? We don't know where the money going because they won't give us an accountability of where the money is going. And I say to you this evening, this afternoon, at 1:21, the 15th of November 2022, what Prime Minister Michael Andrew Holness did this morning is a slap in the Jamaican people's face. You refuse to address the transport crisis in this country. What you did was to call for a state of emergency. Because you know for a fact that the people of Jamaica have had enough of your governing. Enough of the People's National Party governing too. You know for a fact, Prime Minister Andrew Holness. I respect you. But do you respect the people of this country, Mr. Prime Minister? That you couldn't see it fit to address the transport sector in this country, Prime Minister Holness? What you did was to call for a state of emergency. And nobody within your cabinet couldn't say to you, no, Prime Minister, address the people. I'm not a PNP or a JLP. I'm a Jamaican and Jamaica come first for me. If it was, and I said it again, I'm going to say it again. I said it already, I'm going to say it again. If it was Portia Lucretia Simpson Miller, should have addressed the situation. If it was Bruce Golding, would have addressed the situation. But you have this dictatorship within you. But let I remind you, Prime Minister Holness, the people of Jamaica put you there. They can take you down. The people of Jamaica is the one who employ you. You don't employ us. You are the chief servant of the people of this country. And the Jamaican people had enough of your dictatorship. What you did this morning is a blatant disrespect to the people of this country. You believe that Zozos can fight crime in Jamaica? Huh? I'm the Minister of National Security and Injustice, dumb like Twiddly Dum, who's the Commissioner of Police. Can't tell you, say no, Prime Minister, what they're doing is wrong. Huh? So come tomorrow morning again. The transport sector is going to withdraw their service. Do you want the entire country to be shut down, Prime Minister Holness? That's what you want? Are you suspect it's going to happen? So you decide to have a state of emergency. Boy, you're going like you're smart. He suspects that the country is going to go into major anarchy according to Wilmot Mutty Perkins, the late Mutty Perkins. So what he did was to have a state of emergency. Don't address the situation in the transport sector. And all the Minister of National Security and the Commissioner of Police come out and give you some lie. If the Zozos were stemming the crime problem in Jamaica, why is it that 1,390 something Jamaicans died since of November 13th, 2022? Answer that question, Prime Minister Holness, Commissioner of Police, and the Minister of National Insecurity and Injustice. Answer that question. If all that you're doing If all the Zozos and the Nenes and the Zizis and the Zazas was fighting Jamaica's crime problem, was stemming the crime problem in Jamaica, why 1,300 and something Jamaicans were brutally murdered? Fellas, you called for a state of emergency this morning. Why did you do that? If the crime situation in our country was going down because of the Zozos, why is it that so much Jamaicans die? Answer the question, Prime Minister Andrew Holness. You are the servant of the people of this country. You did it because you did not know that the transport sector was so organized. And you know that they were going to rebel. So what you did was to call for a state of emergency. And the Governor General of Jamaica, who signed after this thing, he said they're dumb. Why couldn't you tell the Prime Minister, no, I'm not going to sign it? But the Prime Minister of this country continue to infringe on the fundamental rights of the people of this country. $3 billion owed to the Jamaican people per ticket. Listen to me. How much money did they collect? Did you know that they have been issuing illegal traffic tickets in this country? That's why that's why the judge had put a stop into it. And for a court hearing come 2023, and they run to Parliament. The former Minister of Transport, Robert Bobby Montague, run to Parliament for some emergency powers to stop the people from not paying the tickets. And they continue doing the same damn thing over and over. How can we continue like this as a nation? I am fed up. Living in this country, I am fed up. For far too long, we continue voting in these two political parties. No better barrel, no better herring. No better barrel, no better herring. Swapping black dark for monkey every day. We're swapping black dark for monkey every day. We've been swapping the People's National Party for the JLP. For the People's National Party for the JLP. For the People's National Party for the JLP. What have they done for us? What have the two political parties done for us? When one is in opposition, oh Lord, they have all the solution to Jamaica's problem. And when they're going to use the same damn thing. None of them mean us any good. None of them mean us any good. And what he did was to call for a state of public emergency. Because he knows what's going to happen. But I say to the public transport sector this afternoon, I say to the yes, I know that they don't want to refuse the $3 billion they're going to then pack it. Because the money off of the gas tax, $60 billion off of gas tax, supposed to fix roads. Where's the $60 billion? They spend $1 billion for census. They spend $300 million for Jamaica Grand Gala, for Jamaica 68 Grand Gala. For what reason? Last year, gas tax was 67 billion. Where's all those money? Where are all those money? Yet teachers in this country haven't paid for over 3 months. Some teachers hasn't been paid. The Police Federation need their back money. And the Minister of Finance told them they're a bunch of idiots. And he refused to pay them. But because the transport sector organized themselves, and decide to look here, we had enough of UNO. UNO must give us an amnesty. You know when do? In class of public state of emergency. And until now, he hasn't addressed the situation because what him a done and him run things. I am the only done in this party, and all the others are Donovan's. He's lately that he said it. He's the same prime minister who let the senators assign letters. The same prime minister from then he started his dictatorship. And let me make something clear to whoever is watching me and listening to me. I, Jeffrey Tavares, is not a member of any political party in this country. I am a Jamaican, and Jamaica come first for me. When my mother pushed me out, she pushed me out as a Jamaican, and as a PNP or JLP. Labour Spain bring me here in that aeroplane. And this year alone, they want $60 billion this year. And yet, the question must be asked also, where has all those money gone to fight the coronavirus pandemic in this country? I agree with you. In 1992, gas right and lock it down. But because he know what happened, he went and get state of emergency because he realized what happened. A person right on the chat here said that Jamaican people need to stand up and lock this country down like 1992 gas riot. I remember it. But because he realized what's going to happen, you know, this man is no damn fool to see him there, you know. He's no fool. So what he did was to go to the GG, who all him go around his nyam. All him go around his nyam, you know. He go on everyone in nyam and in nyam here and in nyam there. So what him and in crown is the Minister of National Security and Justice dumb. And the commissioner, the commissioner of no police, twiddly dumb. They decide to come with a state of emergency, and the people of this country, draconialism, iron fistism, Chinaism, Russiaism. Because I know, say, if he continue in the 1990s when the gas riot start, the 14 parishes went up in flame. I am not suggesting that. I am not for that. But if it have to happen, it have to happen. Nelson Mandela went to prison for 27 years to fight for the apartheid of the people of South Africa. Is that we're going to have a Nelson Mandela in Jamaica again? Well, not again. Is that we're going to have a Paul Bogle led by the great rebellionists of St. Thomas? What is going to happen into this country? If this prime minister believes, because he has the power, he's gonna continue infringing on the fundamental rights of the people of this country. Where does he think he's living? In North Korea? Or in China with Xi Jinping? Or in Russia with Vladimir Putin? You continue doing it, you know. You continue putting your iron fist on the people of this country. You continue to do it. You're not going till the people of this country back is against the wall. Be careful of what you're doing. Be careful of what you're doing to the people of this country. You're putting the people back against the wall for far too long. With your badmanism and your danmanism and your draconianism and your iron fistism, be careful of what you're doing. Because as far as I see, listen to both you, Prime Minister Holness, the Minister of National Security, and the Commissioner of No Police. Listen to you this morning. You're clueless in what you're doing. You has no crime problem yet. You have no crime plan, but yet you people put on paper to get donor funds. What you not do for crime? Haven't you done it? Whatever you people put on, I have documents. I have it in front of me. And Wilfred Rattigan can have documents too. What you all put on the paper, the booklet to get donor funds. Have you all implement what you put on the papers to get donor funds from America, Mr. Prime Minister and Mr. Minister of National Insecurity and Injustice? You get billions, nearly 2 or 2 point something billion dollars to fight crime. Have you all implement what you put on the documents to get donor funds from America, Canada, and wherever? Have you all implement that yet, Mr. Prime Minister? All you can do is have state of emergency to shut up the people. But you ain't gonna shut up my voice. By the help of Almighty God, you ain't gonna shut up this boy voice. If you were born in a one-room boathouse in Spanish Town, Prime Minister Holness, you would know the hardship of the people of this country. If you were born in a one-bedroom boathouse, as what you keep on saying, Prime Minister Andrew Holness, you would have known how is it to go to bed with a thin and dirty girl. You would know what it feel like to go home and have no food to eat. You would know what it's like to get up in the morning and have no water to bathe or brush your teeth. You would know what it's like that the taxi men and women are driving for other people. And God bless them make for care home. But all you can do is put down your draconianism on the people of this country. How long shall the people of this country continue under your governing? Remember, local government is around. I have never done this before. But I have reached the point where I'm sick and I'm fed up of the politicalism in Jamaica. In this little rock of mine that I born and grow, that I love so much. We come here by labor pain, not by aeroplane. And what you gonna do? Gonna give the Chinese better whatever more than the Jamaican people. I should have cut off this long time, but I don't know why. I don't know why I continue with it. This broadcast should have ended long time. But what you did this morning, Prime Minister Michael Andrew Holness, it is a slap in the people of this country face, because you know for a fact that the people of this country was going to rise up. You did not see the transport sector coming together. And this is what you did. I never know you do something like that. I never knew you do something like that. And it hurt to the very core. You didn't even see it fit to address it, and yet you're talking. You are the same one who told Portia Simpson Miller in the House of Parliament when she was leaving as Prime Minister and as leader of the People's National Party. You told her, when you're opposition leader, that you are a defender for the poor because you're born in a one-bedroom boathouse in a Spanish Town. You, Prime Minister, want to say that to her. Is this the way of defending poor people? You bulldozer down poor people of our government land. Because no one sell it to no crown is to build high-rise building where poor people can't even afford. Huh? This is what you're going on with. Anyway, it's time for me to end the show. My fellow Jamaicans from all walks of life, God bless you all. May God continue to bless Jamaica land we love. I'm going to end with the song by Ernest Smith. We will and have to overcome what is going on in this country. You can't continue like this. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Remember to like, subscribe to this YouTube channel. May God bless you. May God bless Jamaica land we love.
Just where we're going. Right now we are tied behind the back while certain if unbuttoned. Where do we stand? We have too far to go, not to really know just how we're getting there. And if we're getting anywhere, we have too much to change, not to know the range of possibility and changeability. Violence and crime is commonplace in these sad times. No man walk free. Prophecy comes closer to fulfillment in these dread times. And as we fight one another for the power and the glory, the kingdom goes to waste. We the people want to know just where we're going. Right now we hands are tied behind the back while certain people if unbuttoned. Where do we stand? We have too far to go, not to really know just how we're getting there. And if we're getting anywhere, we have too much to change, not to know the range of possibility and changeability. Violence and crime is commonplace in these sad times. No man walk free. Prophecy come closer to fulfillment in these dread times. Why should this be? And as we fight one another for the power and the glory, your kingdom goes to waste, and every drop of blood we tears. I feel we won this grace, yeah. I feel we won this grace. Can't build no foundation on a if and Are we building a nation or are we building a what? And every time.
Thank you all. Make We Talk do not own the copyrights to this song by Ernest Smith. Make We Talk do not own the copyrights to this song by Ernest Smith. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Until I go live again, God bless you all.